What's up, everybody? We're doing a little different this time. We came at you on screen, no intro. We just want to come straight out and talk and introduce ourselves. Well, you know who we are. If you've been watching us for a while, you know who we are. So it's not that.
You know the drill.
Yeah, you know the drill. It is April 19th. It is all nicked up. It is playoff edition. So we'll get into a little bit of the machinations of what's been going on in the playoffs in a little bit. But we've been through the first two games, two very starkly different games. One was a very competitive game, which the Knicks won, and game two was not so competitive, which the Cavs won. So I know you guys, we're down one guy. He might be joining us. I have no idea if he's coming.
He might still be in Cleveland. We don't know yet.
Yeah, who knows? He might be. He might have gone out there. I have no idea. But hopefully we'll see him soon. So we're just going to come in. We'll obviously recap the first two games because that's what we do here. And there's been now game one was a very, very interesting game, I thought.
Yes.
I felt like the Knicks came out strong. They started the game well. They played at their own pace. Mm-hmm. And they were the aggressor, right? Game one, they were the team pushing Cleveland, pushing them off the ball, pushing them back. Donovan Mitchell was great, but they really didn't get much else from anybody else. Mm-hmm. Darius Garland had a good shooting, like his percentage was good, but he only took 13 shots. So, and I know we talked about last week when we were talking about the preview and we were talking about what we thought about the game. We said that he would kind of have to be their second guy, right? Like he would have to step up and be the second guy. And in game one, he wasn't, but it was still close. Like the game was not decided until Josh Hart hit that three. And that's pretty much what decided that game. So the game was close. The Knicks won. They got a good first half from Julius and then a good second half from Brunson. And they kind of rode that to the victory. And then obviously Hart hitting the big shot. So they got that one. Mm-hmm. So what were you feeling like after game one? Let's just go from there.
Game one, I thought it was a great game for the Knicks, just being able to steal one on the road. You know, they've been a great road team as opposed to a home team for the whole year anyway. So I just thought it was a good, not only just a great victory, but a great victory for our confidence level. You know, you still have a very young team in place, and to see them actually, they squandered the lead. I think they lost the lead at one point also going down the stretch, and then they regained it back. A lot of clutch moments. I mean, Josh Hart definitely, you know, embodies that thing that we've always wanted in New York. He claims to be a dog. I think John called him a Doberman. You know, he is that Doberman right now, and that grittiness of who he is just what Knicks fans have always wanted. Just a person that's willing to lay it out on the line. And, you know, we watched Julius seem to have some control, even when it was getting a little chippy.
Yeah.
He threw his hands up, you know, kind of to say, hey, it's not me this time. Referees, don't come after me. I'm not crying. I'm not going to berate you, you know, the whole time during the game, you know, for ticky-tack foul. And it seemed like everyone, in spite of those guys that struggle like RJ and Quick, Grimes not having a great game, a little underwhelming game, that for the most part, the entire Knicks squad kind of showed up in their own fashion and contributed some sort of way. I mean, RJ had 7 or 8 assists, so it wasn't like he was a complete no-show. You know, I know he gets burned a lot for, you know, his shortcomings or whatever, you know, people don't like him or whatever the stories with RJ. But overall, it was just a great quality team win, which we've seen that from the Knicks this year anyway. They've all, you know, next man up mentality is really true to the Knicks. It's not just a cliche on this squad. And just a lot of grit, you know, and much like we've seen during the season, we have Julius moments and we have Brunson closing moments. It's how it's usually been. You know, Julius he was one of the first quarter scorer leaders in the league this year. So, you know, he's been that dude to kind of set the table, and Brunson kind of serves the meal, and, you know, and everybody dines off of what he does towards the clutch ending. So great game one. I mean, it was I did say 5. I don't know. We'll see if that happens now. But needless to say, the Knicks. I was very impressed with what we brought to the table because the question was, could we carry over what we did in the regular season into the postseason? In Game 1, it seemed like we did.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The Knicks all year, we've said it many times, their margin for error is slim because they don't have they have all-stars. They don't have that superstar really that you can kind of feel like, all right, if anything goes bad, we have him. Even as good as Brunson has been, I still don't put him at that level of player, right? So we don't have that one guy that you're like, okay, he could stem the tide, or he could take over the game. Brunson has, of course, and so has Randall. They both had moments, but not something that I would say they are yet. So, so Game 1, like I said, was close game. The Knicks made the plays at the end, and they won. Now, Game 2 started out very, very well. Yes. The Knicks were up 8 at one point. They were flowing. Things were going good. And there was one play, and I can't remember which one it was. It might have even been the Okoro play with the offensive rebound, even though Okoro, after that segment, he didn't play the rest of the game. But it might even have been that one play. They got an offensive rebound, and I just noticed the difference. I'm like, okay, Cleveland is playing this game a little bit differently. They weren't backing away. They were being more forceful on the ball. Their defense, they were getting up in guys this time, weren't laying back. You started to see, they're the best defense in the league, and you started to see a little bit of that. They definitely started doing trapping full court, and they were doing, guys were obviously right on the inbounding the ball. They were just up in their face. So they made adjustments, and once the Knicks got up 8 at that one point, then things started to turn, and Garland just started to go off. Like he really started to make shots, and kudos to him because he's the one who talked after game 1,
and he showed up.
Yeah, so he backed it up. So you gotta, if a guy does that and backs it up, you kind of like tip your cap to him, right? Like, you gotta do that. So. But after that, it just got really ugly. And the Knicks, I don't think, ever got closer than 13, maybe 14 the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was like around 30. I thought it might have been 16, but you might be
right. You might be right. It might have been 16.
It was some ridiculous. The only reason I can tell you this is I'm sitting and watching the game, and my brother calls me up. And he goes, we don't have enough censor buttons for what he called him actually. It was something to the point of where he was like, what the bleep is this I'm watching? He's like, oh, what kind of team is this tonight? Because it was all flowers and candy on Game 1, and then you go and see this atrocity happen. And I showed him, I said, well, look, I said, they've been resilient all year. I said, so maybe they make a game of it towards the second half, which obviously that really didn't happen. But when they did start to engage, I'm like, well, maybe this might be the push. If they can get it down to 10, maybe they got a chance in the fourth. But I think it was at 16 points. That's the only reason I recall it. There was 16, and then the basement really opened up, and everybody fell into the cesspool because after I think it was he brought in Quick late, and I think it was Obi later in that quarter, and it was just like it was too far on.
McBride got some minutes, like we saw a little bit Miles McBride.
It was just bad vibes.
Yeah, we love him. I love McBride. I think we both do. We're big fans of his, but when he didn't play at all Game 1. So when he showed up in Game 2, we're kind of like, they're
they're nailing it. What else for sale at that point?
I'm not so sure this is a thing to just get him minutes. I'm pretty sure they're kind of like, all right, we took 1 out of 2, which is what you want to do, right? You want to split. Mm-hmm. So they did their job there. But there's something I wanted to bring up because I noticed it early on yesterday, and this is not the first time it's happened, but Brunson early in the game yesterday, I thought was really just looking to score. I didn't think he was looking to get the team involved. I didn't think he was trying to get, to facilitate too much. Mm-hmm. He was kind of just really looking to score. And that is what he does, right? We got to be fair. That's who he is as a player. He's a scorer. We would like him to be more of a traditional point guard. It's just not what he is and what he does well. So, that was the thing I noticed. What did you see the same thing? Did you sense that early on, or am I crazy
No,
with that
no.
analysis?
I know. I think the thing that we've seen from Jalen, who's like I said, I'm not going to complain much about him.
Right.
Obviously, he's had a great year, one of the greatest Knick free agent signings. Period.
Yep.
And I just mean period, like they do the period with the T at the end of it. But I think the thing is that I think with this squad, and we've discussed this off camera more so than ad nauseum, is the fact that he can be that great scorer for us, but this team requires more of a point guard, a guy that's going to get everyone else involved also, because what we've been seeing down when watching the game and as the close of the season, this is one of the things I talked about with you guys and we've discussed off camera also, is about being able to involve every player. You're going to need all the players on the team to be contributors. And, when we get into this whole calling your own number thing, and you've got guys that are clearly from game one, we had RJ, we had Quick, we had Grimes, we had guys that are vital to this team's success throughout the season. They pretty much sucked. I mean, that's a way of really saying it. And I would have thought it would have been great if you're going to come out as the leader of this team to say, let me get these young bucks going because we're going to need you. I can be a decoy down the end as long as I get RJ started, as long as I get Grimes started. And I know we have this thing in New York where from the fan base, I know RJ has shortcomings, but we're seeing Quick has shortcomings. We've talked about Quickly's shortcomings for the longest time. Yep. I know people are like, oh, you guys just hate Quickly. And it's like, no, not quite like hate Quickly. It's just more so he becomes like this novelty act sometimes in his game. We have the long launching threes, which he's toned down, which to his credit.
Yes.
He's been honed in his game. But the one thing that has not ever been honed in is I think that if he's not hitting his shots, if he's not scoring, what does he do? And that's always been my thing about in basketball. When they take away what you're strong at, what do you do after? And he has never really had, to me, that package that allows him, that dribble package that I can get past the guy, get into the paint off of that, and then be able to either get that floater off or get to the hoop or whatever. He used to have that great floater, but I'm just saying, it's like he now kind of does the whole, he gets past the guy and he's like looking for contact to get the and one. It's not fluid. It's almost like a gimmick thing that he tries to do. And I'm going to sew this back down to Jalen Brunson and the fact that, like I said, you're a guy who can get every shot you want on the floor. And you see that these guys have some limitation. Not every guy on the Knicks is capable of being an ISO player. So when you've got to let these guys or find some way to activate these guys to get them easy buckets, so they can get in some sort of rhythm. We saw Obi launch a three yesterday, and I'm like, Obi. I mean, it was like so bad. I'm like, dude, you didn't even touch the Cleveland River. If they got a river in Cleveland, I don't even know if they got one, but
they do.
Yeah, well, that ball went there. He left the stadium because that three ball was bad, and it's just you could see that he had no confidence in his shot, and he had no confidence. RJ doesn't have confidence, and Quick got basically annihilated. That Emmanuel quickly that does the hair little twist, all the confidence and the cockiness. That dude got blasted yesterday. He's got blasted for 2 games, but he got really annihilated yesterday. And it goes back to Brunson. You can get your numbers. You're going to get your own shot. You can get anyone on the floor. And now that they know you're trying to score, they're going to blitz you with a tall, athletic dude now. So now they know you're not willing to give up the rock, and these other guys don't know how to eat on their own. Now they've suffocated the Knicks. The Knicks got problems right now going into game 3. And it does start with Jalen searching for his shot. His shot should come in the 4th. If you're going to be a point guard in this league, and the Knicks have shortcomings offensively, in which they do because they can't shoot. They couldn't shoot a BB gun right now. As far as from the outside shot, you and Julius are the only 2 guys that can really get your own work. So it would behoove you to try to come out in the first quarter and say, let me just dish, not switch. Let me just get these guys, get one of these other, I got to active. He's got to at least activate RJ. He's got to at least get him active because you need him so much. You're going to need the dude. I don't care what nobody wants to say. If RJ, they want to say RJ sucks, whatever you want to say. That's the key thing. The key guy in the whole Knick team is RJ. You know, we can talk about how great what's his name is the Doberman. You know, Josh Hart.
Josh Hart, yeah.
You know, great dude, great player. You know, coming off, great impact player, but you got to have your starting five. Somebody's got to score other than Julius and Brunson. So yeah, Brunson to me saw, you know, he was searching out him too much, and he needs to say, like towards the end, like when he got in the third quarter when it came out halftime, then you saw him like trying to think like a point guard. He got Mitch a couple of little quick hits, you know, but that's got to be all game. He has to be that way for 3/4 of the game, and then the fourth quarter, let that be your money time.
I often wondered why he doesn't post up more, and then they play off of that, right? Like. That's the one thing that's something he does well. He has such good footwork. You would think they would get him down there and then they would run motion off of the post up with him and try and get guys cutting or just guys get guys loose.
Yeah.
Because if I know he's only 6'1", and that might be generous. He's probably closer to 6 foot. So maybe that's the reason why like they don't put him down there because of his height. But I don't know. I feel like he'd be able to make more plays off of that if they let him, because I mean, he's not a great passer. He's a good passer. Yeah. But he's better at, like, they do it with Randall, and I think he's a better passer than Randall. We've talked about it all the time, though, like Barrett is probably their best passer.
I agree with that.
Right? Like, say what you want about it, the way he's been playing. And I admit his offense right now is completely gone. And that's what I want to talk about. Like, where is this guy? Like, where's the dog that we're used to seeing? Like, I understand he could be struggling. Like, we've talked about this in the past. There could be something going on injury-wise we haven't heard. Some underlying thing bothering him. All of that's valid. All of it's valid.
Absolutely.
And as we know, he doesn't on the court. He doesn't look like he's ever wavered or nothing bothers him. He has that stoic, But the way he's playing, that says something different, at least from my point of view. Like he had a play, it might have been in game 1 where he was driving and maybe it was game 2. He did a fake pass and Mitchell was in front of him. He did like a fake on the wing and then tried to drive. And I'm like, he saw that a mile away. Like he knew you were going to do that. And like, I just want to see, don't do that stuff. You're a big guy. You're good at attacking. Yeah, you're good at attacking the basket. Make him play you. Make him foul you. Make him do something. Make Mitchell foul you on that play. Like, I know you want to make the right play all the time, but he's just thinking too much. You could tell he's thinking, even when he's shooting the ball. Like, you could tell when he catches the ball, it's not a normal fluid thing for him right now. He's thinking. He looks like he's trying to get his fingers right on the ball, and all of a sudden, all these mechanical things going on. When I'm watching it, I'm like, where is this guy now? Obviously, like I said, it's up here. We know he can score. We know he can play in the NBA. That all these people are like, he sucks. He's not an NBA player. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, like, let's stop. Let's just stop that craziness.
Right. So I'm
20 points a game and you don't belong in the NBA.
Right. I mean, we know what he can do when he's right, but he's clearly not right. So, and he's not the type that's going to complain. He's never the type that's going to say, I have something going on if he does. Because he's just that kind of guy. But at this point, you know what? I just want to see him say, screw it, and just play hard, and whatever happens, happens. Like, you're not hitting your jump shots, stop shooting jump shots. Drive to the basket.
Just drive.
Just do that all game. You drive and guys are collapsing on you, find the open man, which he does well, usually. He's really good at that. But just do the things you do well to get your head back in the game. And then everything else will come, because like you said, and we said this last week, he's the X factor for them. They need him in this series and in the playoffs, however far they're going to go.
They need him.
You're going to get from Brunson. You're going to get from Randall. They need that third guy. And with the way quickly he's been looking, I don't think it's going to be him. So
no, No.
right? So
No.
yeah, like and that's probably the strangest thing for me is Quickly, because he was playing at such a high level, and then the playoffs come, and it's definitely a different animal, and we know that.
No.
That's exactly what happened.
This is my when we roll back my when I was critiquing Quick a lot. I was not. I backed off on critiquing our players. That was one thing I told you some part of
Yes.
the year. I said, it's like, I'm not going to complain about our guys. I'm going to say they've been playing very good. But I'm going to always go back to my analysis of what I say about certain players that still has never changed, about what I view them as. The thing about Emmanuel Quickly is there's just a limitation in his game. Like when he's flowing and he's speedballing up and down and he's just freelancing basically as a player, he's awesome. When the game is sped up, he's awesome. These are things that make him special because you're not getting any resistance. But the Knicks' biggest thing has always been to have court execution. When you have a guy, he cannot get past he cannot get past the arc. Once he gets on the arc, he can dance out there a little bit and he might try to get off of his guy or whatever, but he doesn't have that blow by package with the dribble. So he ends up becoming a dribble, shoot once he gets pressured. And that's what you're starting to see from him. Someone asked today, I was commenting on the thread, and they said, what happened to Quickly? And I said, basically, he got exposed. He's getting exposed for what he's weak at, and he doesn't have a great dribble package. He needs a pick, something that we talk about all the time with the Knicks players. Most of the Knicks players need a pick and roll. They need someone to give them a pick to get an open shot. This whole idea that all these guys on the Knicks are isolation great players, they are not. They're medium. Even our great ISO player, Jalen's our best ISO player. Then it goes down to Julius, and he has limitations also because he also can get in his own head when it comes to ISOing. There's no system in place that these guys can fall back on and rely on when it comes to being able to create within an offense. And now what we're seeing from Emmanuel Quickly is the freestyle ain't working, bro. It's not working. It's not working. You need a pick. You need to this comes down to spacing on the floor and being able to say they know he's committed to scoring. They know he's not going to try to pass.
That's true.
So he's going to come down and he's going to try to juke and throw up these shots. And as long as somebody shows hard on the defense and and they get up in him, he's not going to he's going to be annihilated. He's going to be negated basically as far as what makes him special. Because the only thing that really makes him special is these hero shots he's able to make in volume when he gets it going. That's the best attribute after that. And he can play some defense when he's engaged. But last night we saw that he had one steal because he's too occupied with not being able to score. He's not doing the other things that can benefit the team, like play defense. And we know he can't pass like that. He can pass, but he's not that wired that way. Right. So he can't play point guard. He's a combo guard in every bit of the sense. He's like Jamal Crawford. That's really, if you want to say somebody like him, not that he's Jay Crossover, but I'm just saying he's that type of combo guard. You can give him a little minute at the point, but you really want him probably shooting the two, being at the two and trying to be a scoring guard at best. He's got negated. I think, you know what? He has one more game.
He's getting, I feel like he's getting a pass. I really do. I feel like everyone is focused on Barrett, and that's fine. You could pick on him. That's fine. He hasn't played well. Fair is fair. You could pick on him if you want, but Quickly is like flying completely under the radar. Dude, I don't care how bad RJ was. Quickly didn't hit his first field goal until I think the third quarter yesterday when the game was completely out. They had no shot to win.
Here's the killer thing about it. Even RJ's game was terrible, or if you want to say it's terrible, say you thought it was beneath you. RJ's first game still was better than Quickly's.
I know.
And I'm talking like by a large stretch better than Quickly's.
Yeah,
And
he had
all
4
you're
steals.
hearing is that, oh, RJ sucks. Quickly, who Tom Thibodeau relies on a lot. He's invested a lot of energy. What do you tell us in Boston? Quick, that's my guy. Quick.
Yep, he
All
said
right,
that's my
well,
guy.
okay, now your guy sucks. And hey, look, this is their second playoff experience, sort of, kind of, in a way. We're seeing your guy get exposed, and now can you bail him out of that exposure? This is going to come down to now when you look at it, and I know there's such a big swing knowing that you're going from game 1 and 2, be like, oh God, we can't push the panic button literally. But we can say that game 1, the Knicks surprised Cleveland. Cleveland has adjusted in game 2 greatly. Now, what is our coach going to adjust to? Now we're going to come back to coaching. So now we're like, now you've got to adjust your game because now clearly Cleveland has saw the things you are great at. And now they're saying, well, maybe our way is greater than your way. Maybe what you're great at, we're greater at doing it ourselves. So now we're going to start seeing these guys that Tom has relied on greatly during the regular season, and he's giving them high praise. We're going to start seeing their limitations. And like I said, RJ's, I don't know, RJ just never, he doesn't seem like I don't want to say he got lost in this team. And if that's one thing I would say about him is like he got lost. Like his role became less defined. Clearly he's the third guy now. He's not, and he might be even in my estimation, if I had to really look at this team evaluation wise, and someone said, and I knew nothing about this team, and I just came in blindly and say, who are the top 3 guys on this team that this coach believes in? I would never say RJ. RJ is probably the 5th guy. I'd say it's Brunson, it's Julius, it's Quickly,
And Hart.
and you might throw Grimes in before RJ. Like, to me, RJ being the 3rd pick is a forgotten thought. Like he was in nothing, and he's been kind of subbed out for guys who, I don't want to dog them when I say this, but their ceilings are not as high as RJ's possibly can be if you hone RJ right. Like, RJ is a bona fide starter in this league, whether the people want to dog him or not. This dude, since he's been a rook up until now, is averaging 20 points. Now, you want to say he's a volume scorer? That's fine. We've seen him erupt. We've seen him be able to carry teams. We just don't see the consistency we would love to see. But what we've seen from Emmanuel Quickly, and we've seen from Grimes, and we've seen from all the other guys, we've seen consistent benchmen. They've been bench players. Now, when they've been given bigger roles, and that's what Quickly has now, a bigger role on this team. Grimes has a bigger role on this team. And win the playoffs, where you at, bro?
Yeah, the adjustment, that's the biggest adjustment. Like, they'll tell you that the first adjustment you make coming into the NBA is the difference in speed from college to the pros, right? It's a faster game. Every sport is the same way. Football, basketball, hockey, baseball, the pitchers are better. They have curveballs. Like, everything, there's the next level is usually the speed of the game. Pitchers throw harder, faster. Like, okay. So that's the first thing. And then the next level is playoff intensity, right? Like, okay, we figured out the regular season. The playoffs are another level above that. And that's what they're kind of playing through right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're seeing there with those 2 guys. I do agree with your assessment of RJ in this regard. He has always been either the top or the second guy on any team he's ever been on. And now he's being asked to fit in, like, get yours where you can. And he's never done that before. So I think that's part of the thinking process that I said before, that sometimes he looks like he's just thinking, like, what am I supposed to do now? Where do I get my shot? And when you're thinking, you're not playing well. I don't care what anyone says. You have to think, but not think to the point where it slows you down.
Yeah.
Right? It's got to be a quick thinking process. And he's just lost in that regard right now. So I totally agree with you on that. And you brought up Quickly and Grimes a little bit. So this was my question, though. Is the moment too big for them right now? Are they not prepared for this level? And if that's the case, how do you combat that? Like, there's only possibly three games left max. I mean, minimum in the series. So how do you combat that?
I don't know. I think Grimes is okay as compared to Quickly. I think Quickly is just Quickly is like one of these deers in my backyard once in a while. You turn on the spotlight and they jump. And they're like, whose house is this? And they'd be like, it's my house. And the dude's like, you sure this is your house? And, you play the back and forth game, and we got to get the air gun out there and blow it, and they run. Yeah, but needless to say, that's the kind of thing, like, quickly, like, they were interviewing him, and he was like, they asked him a question, and he, like, really turned to the camera and was like, well, they, like they kind of hit us, and it's like, well, I would never, I'm going to tell you this. This is just me, deep in a buck. Just the dog me. Even if I was scared, I wouldn't let nobody know I was scared. Even if, which I'm not scared, but I was saying, even if I felt, I would never give someone the benefit of the doubt of believing. Said they, like he said, they punched us and we didn't respond. Meanwhile, dude, you look like you got punched and you didn't respond. You look like you got punked on the floor and then you wouldn't hit for cover. That's what it looks like to the other team when you give them that license to believe they affected your game. The thing he should have said was, I had a bad game, but it won't happen again. Right. That's what he should have came out with, that kind of fervor, is to say, look, there was nothing they did. I didn't play up to my standard. I need to be better. I'm going to come out better. I'm not going to give them credit. Grimes is one of those guys that'll blend in. Like, he was one, they said, what did Donovan Mitchell say to you in game one? That was one of the things when we went to line. He says, well, I don't care what he thought he was going to say to me. It wasn't going to affect my game. I'm not scared. I'm not worried about Grimes. I think Grimes, because of how the kind of game Grimes plays, he's only called upon when a shot comes open to him. And everything else, he's just basically being a utility glue guy when called upon to do certain things. I wish that he's more aggressive. That's the one thing I want to see from him. Is that he's purely aggressive. None of this passive, going to the lane and you're trying to dish it off. You just need to finish at the rim or get foul. You're too great of a foul shooter to worry about going there and screwing that portion up anyway. Just play. Just play with a reckless abandonment. That's what I like to see from Grimes, because he won't play with a lot of mistakes to begin with. Quickly, I think this is a case of tier. Like what you were saying about the intensity. He's had this regular season, welcome to the party tour, with Boston, and we've seen him now. He's 6 Man of the Year candidate. Right. He's had his tour, and someone has come out and said, "Your tour is over right now."
It kind of reminds me of Randall against Atlanta, right? Like, it kind of looks like how Julius played against the Hawks a couple of years ago when the Knicks made the playoffs. He kind of has that that look in his face, because there were a couple plays. Like I said, he didn't really score until the third quarter yesterday in the series, because he was 0 for 7 in game one. Yeah. So he went 6 quarters without scoring any points, and that's really what he is. He's a scorer. So he had this look in his face at the first. It was in the first half when he came in. Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, like, holy crap, this is completely different. And that's fine. Like, he's a young player. I'm not dogging him for it. It happens. Every player goes through it. But when you're called upon, when you're needed, when you're a big part of the team, because he's a big part of the team, he's their best bench player by statistics. Like, he is their best bench player. Absolutely. So when you're called upon to do that, man, you can't afford to have this. And I do give Thibodeau credit, because in game one, he didn't play. He was bad. He didn't play him. Mm-hmm. He did not play. I think he played like 20 minutes, and that's low for him.
Yeah, he pulled him. Yeah.
Right. So I give him credit, because, like you said, it's his guy, and he realized we need this game. I can't have this guy blowing it for us. So I give him credit. But they're gonna need, like I said, they need RJ. They're gonna need him too. Quickly has to start playing better. He did play, like, he got some minutes in the second half yesterday. I know the game was pretty much over, but maybe just playing through it and seeing the ball go in the basket, give him a little confidence moving forward. I kind of agree with you with Grimes. He's got that level head. He doesn't seem like, he's kind of like RJ in that sense. Like, nothing doesn't seem like anything phases him. Nothing's too big. I do feel like a couple of the shot, he's a little too anxious with his shot right now. He's like over rotating, maybe not fully. He's trying to get the shot off too quickly, because that could just be adrenaline. Yeah. But I agree with you. I'd say quickly, yes, the moment has been too big so far. And again, that goes with expectations too, right? He's 6 Man of the Year candidate. He's putting probably extra pressure on himself too, to say, hey, I gotta be this player I've been. Yeah. So there's a lot. He's going through a lot of that. But I agree with you on Grimes. Grimes is going to be okay. I just want him to have one of those games. I'm hoping in game 3 he has one of those games where he hits like 5 threes and something like that, because that's what they need from him. And again, the defense. We need, that's I think that was the biggest surprise to me yesterday in game 2 was I felt like the defensive intensity, Cleveland upped theirs, and the Knicks just didn't meet it. Like
Yeah.
they didn't meet them with the defensive intensity on that side of the ball. And who knows? Like I said last night, we were texting in the group and in the chat, and I was like, when the second quarter, like the early third, I want to say like the first 5 minutes when they really didn't push to come back, I think I said they seem really content with just getting the split.
Just getting one. Yeah.
Right.
I think they did concede that at some point, which I don't like that. I've never been one of those people. The whole time I've ever followed this sport, I'd want to be greedy in both those games. I wouldn't think I would want to be so greedy in all those games. I would want to go in and say, I'm not coming here for one game. I'm coming here for 2 games. I'm coming to sweep you out of here. I don't know how no one is not thinking sweep every time they play. Like we're coming in here to win every game. And we're going to play. Not that you're guaranteed to win, but knowing how you had Cleveland and knowing that you were up at 8 at one point, that would have, if you could have kept that lead going in the halftime, Cleveland the doubts are sleeping into Cleveland's head.
Yep.
We can't beat these dudes. But it was just certain things like yesterday I watched Julius and I'm not trying to pick just on Julius because they all kind of did it. But when your best players do it, it becomes more magnified. It was sort of like he gave up on some of the rebounds. He's like, oh, all right, they got the rebound. Dude, you can't be huffing and puffing and blowing people's houses down in game 1. And the next time you're like, oh, can I just build it with sticks? We're going 3 little pigs here. You can't just You got to build it all with bricks. You can't be sitting there, all of a sudden now going, oh, whatever. Let them have it. Let them have it. They destroyed you. I mean, and the thing that happened was those bigs got activated, and they took it personal. Right. Those bigs took it personal on the boards. Afro Samurai came in there and was just trying to destroy everything under the sun. So you had that dude up in there, and now you're looking at the Knicks. Once again, we talk the same thing with Mitch. You got to match that intensity of saying, you got to bring it every game, whether you win or lose. Bring every bit you got.
Yeah, I felt like Mitch was kind of taken out of the game with fouls yesterday. He got a couple early ones, and like I didn't feel like he really had a chance to establish anything. Yeah. So he kind of and then Hartenstein didn't play. Hartenstein, strangely enough, I mean, anytime he had 5 assists, right? So again, we all say he should do more of that. He should have more opportunities. They should run more plays through him because he is such a good passer. But anytime you have your center, like Brunson had 6, and then Hartenstein had 5. If you're not Nikola Jokic, I don't like that. I want your guards who have the ball most of the time to be have more of the assists. So yeah, I agree with you on that as well. I definitely Mobley and Allen were motivated, and they played that way, and that was a huge difference in yesterday. But again, like it's a chess match, right? The playoffs are a chess match. You're playing the same team over and over again. So you have to, we won game 1. The Cavs are like, oh, we're going to come out and be more aggressive. They did. They were in game 2. But that's the other thing that bothers me. They kept saying they were going to do this. The Knicks weren't prepared for it.
That is, we right here. That was the big thing for me. It's like, you're not going to tell me you're going to punch me. Then I'm sitting there not waiting for the punch.
I know.
You told me for 2 days you're going to punch me in my teeth. So naturally, I'm like, well, I'm going to punch you before you punch me. You're not punching. You're not going to punk me. That's the thing, like I said about with the interview. It's like, dude, they already told you they were trying to come punk you. So it would behoove you to say, Josh Hart, we call a dog. I think he's a limping dog yesterday. He came out and showed up. I mean, he's not a superstar. That has to be a precedent set from your guys who, like Quickly had said before the series started. He said, "Oh, I live for these big moments." Well, no, you really don't. You see, like this, there's little chirp things that I don't like hearing because you can't say that. And like Garland,
Right.
he clapped back and he came back and he was like, I'm coming out with a burn notice. Y'all not punking us this game. So you can't be a bully team and not play like a bully. The Knicks are a bully team. And I felt like they played like one of the softest teams yesterday. After somebody says, I'm gonna meet you, do it 3:00, I'm gonna meet you out in the parking lot, when you're in school, and it's on. Like you're about to get hit when you go in the parking lot. So why would you suddenly forget what the mantra was coming in? That Cleveland basically said, we're gonna make y'all soft tonight. And you got guys, Julius is not a soft dude, but you can't have dudes screaming on you on the basket and rebounding on you. I mean, put somebody on their back. Do something. I mean, just show that, hey, look, take the tech to say you're not doing that. Let me just show you what physicality is going to be about. You think you're going to dish it out tonight and we're going to take it? We're going to punch you right back in your mouth. And that would have been so different. But we saw Brunson get laid down. He's been taking those tough, charges all year, but he seemed like he was knocked out of the game, in my opinion, at some point. Like he was just like dazed. When you start seeing that, and you got a guy like RJ, we go back to RJ, who is so physically stronger than most guys on the floor. We can't have you fading away doing fade away, whatever that. I don't even know what that is. They're using it anymore because it's a fade away, floater. Which I'm like, dude.
He had one.
Kawhi Leonard's little brother. You don't need to be fading away at all. Everything you do should be directly. We've seen Obi. I mean, Obi's all year. We've been seeing this like Obi. I know you're not Amari. But you can't be Atari either. You can't be Atari. You can't be Atari. You can't be this old remote control that nobody uses anymore, and it's a stiff, and we don't even know if it's a pliable anymore. You have the most physical gifts out of everyone on the Knicks. You're the most physically talented dude. Next to probably Derrick Rose if he got some, some
he's not playing.
Extra adrenaline in him. But I'm just saying, like, you're that dude. I don't want you shooting threes. Some soft three. I mean, he's been relegated to do that, but I'm saying the minute you see an opening and anytime, you're like, I'm jamming that. Hell with what that coach is telling me. I'm taking that to the rack because we need to have some adrenaline pumping moves going. The Knicks, once in a while, you'll see Julius do that. Like he'll go into the paint like I'm yoking this. I'm just going to try to destroy it because I'm just the biggest damn dude in here. And Brunson has been a bully, but yesterday we didn't see any one Knick.
No.
That physical intensity of like, this is my house too.
That's kind of what I was saying. Like once that they blew that 8-point lead and Cleveland started to go on that run, they didn't punch back. And they were kind of just like, yeah, we won game one. Okay, we're good. Like we'll go back home and we'll do now. But see, the problem with that mentality, like you said, it sucks. You should always want to win and win every game you play. But the problem with doing that, saying we'll take the split, now all the pressure is on you in game 3 because now you're the home team, right? If you get the first 2 games, there's still pressure, but they have more pressure because, oh crap, we lost 2 at home. We have to win at least 1 here, right? They're going to be 2. So that's the thing. Like, it's just a very bad way, but that's exactly what they did. Like once Cleveland went on that run and the Knicks realized, yeah, we don't have it tonight. They just completely, they gave them the game. And that bothered me more than anything else.
Yeah.
And then again, knowing that they're going to come out and they told you we're going to come out. We got to be more physical. We have to be, take it to them. We can't let them control like they told you that.
They told you.
And they didn't meet them. They didn't meet them at that spot. And that was a little upsetting for me, especially from a team that's coached by a guy who preaches that, right? Like if you believe what Tom Thibodeau's coach teams do, that's kind of what they are. So that was really, really upsetting. But like we said, they did get one. We're coming back home. We're coming back to Madison Square Garden. It's going to be rocking. Definitely know game 3 on Friday. That place is going to be rocking off the hook. It's going to be a lot of excitement. It's tough to win. It's going to be tough to win both these games. That's a very good team over there. I don't think their bench is great, but LeVert yesterday was fantastic. LeVert was great. So if they get that from him going forward, it's going to be a problem.
And to throw in, this is why I wanted them to try to win game 2. We're not that home team. The Knicks have gotten better.
They've gotten better, yeah.
They've gotten better, but the knock on the Knicks, and I'm not saying a guy like Brunson, I'm not saying a guy like Hart, because they seem to thrive no matter where they play. The thing has been, we've seen some of the Knicks that are from the prior regime, or these guys get here, they never like playing in the Garden. Even though it's the home crowd, they feel, we've seen Julius Heimlich maneuver, playing under this pressure.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen guys now. I mean, I'm going to buy that RJ and Quickly have better games at home. If they're not, if they don't have a good game in game 3, it's going to be a long summer for both of those guys. That's all I can tell you. Somebody's going to have a very long summer. But for me, I just think those guys should thrive better at home. I'm expecting RJ to come out in game 3 with some sort of adrenaline pack on his back to say, let me prove why I'm number 3 pick in that draft. But there's no guarantee. I don't like our home court advantage. Our home court advantage should be everything. We should have the best home court advantage in the league, given that New York fans show out when you are terrible. And
we definitely should.
Yep. And we cheered in game, we won one game and you thought it was like the finals. We won game in the finals. So the intensity is going to be ramped up. The crowd is going to let them know they're in New York.
Yes, it is.
Will the Knicks let them know they're in New York? That's going to be the greatest question. Is like, are we going to see, like what I saw from Julius? And I hate barking at that dude like that. But what I saw him do in game 2, I'm like, I don't want to see that again, because that reminds me of the guy who checks out mentally.
Yes.
Yes. You know what?
Yes.
He had that moment, and I know it's so weird with him because I don't think nobody questions whether Julius works out. Nobody questions if he loves the game. Nobody questions his dedication to his body and all that stuff. It's really about the mindset of when he gets taken out of games. There was one play he got, I guess he thought he should have gotten a call yesterday. And he didn't berate the ref like he normally does. But he spent the whole time while chasing around his guy, looking back at the ref to say something to him still about what he believed to be the blown call. I'm like, dude, that play is so over right now. You need to be checking the guy that you are supposed to be checking. And it led to the lackadaisical effort on the boards because he ended up saying, y'all didn't give me the call. And he kind of like, I didn't get that call. So I've checked out.
Yeah,
your infamous was telling everybody he's about to check out. So.
Yep, because it was so evident. There was a play along the baseline. If someone caught the ball and on the Cavs, he didn't even try and stop him. He just let him go. And I was like, oh no, here we go. Like you just know right away that he's mentally out of the game, doesn't want to play anymore. It's the one flaw about his passion that bothers me because like you said, he has a good work ethic, he works hard. He's a self-made player in a lot of ways because he's not he's not a great athlete. He doesn't have great athletic talent. Mm-hmm. He's a decent athlete, but he's definitely much more of obviously we saw with his 3-point shot, right? Like he worked on that and now he's hitting it. Like things like that, he does. He puts in the time. But man, the mental part of the game, we always say that with him. That's where it is. If he's locked in and focused, he's good. Mm-hmm. But man, the smallest thing could tick him off. The very smallest thing. And yeah, I'm hoping this is what you hope. You hope the home crowd alleviates some of that. Like you hope coming home that the fans are just going to be so into it. And the one thing I think the Knicks have to do is they have to get up big early. I think they have to. I think they have to have a 10, maybe even 12-point lead. After the first quarter. That's my guess. That's where I'm putting it at. Not that they can't come back, because all season they've come back, but you want the crowd to be that much into the game early on. So even if they do make a run, they can kind of push you back, right? Like they're gonna support you and push you back across that line. So yeah, the series has been I think it's been what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I just didn't think I did not think a blowout would happen yesterday. But that is what happened. So hopefully that's the one that they had and they got it out of their system. And going forward,
hopefully it's amnesia for these guys. Well, the thing is that you can't say you played great. You know, you clearly went home and have to work on your game plan because it sucked in game 2. So everybody's on board. Everybody has to be on deck and be held accountable. There's not one Nick that can say, well, he's not talking about me when he says we played like crap, because you all played like crap to a degree. So, he should be able to have these guys' ears. My hope is that somebody has his ears also, that he's also open to understand. And I don't know where I can lay with him yesterday, other than that he kept the starters in when he, you don't let Julius tell you that he wants to work on his game. Well, you'll work on it in practice, because I'm pulling out the game before you get an injury, because you almost suffered an injury yesterday. These kind of little things. It's like, why you got those players in the game? You should be sitting them and letting them watch that terrible ending, so it sticks with them, if anything, and say, look at what we didn't do, and they're celebrating. You should feel sick to your stomach right now. And Brunson didn't look happy in his post game. He looked like he was a guy sour about it and said, we sucked. I don't have a problem with. I think he will be the one guy that will bounce back, definitely, to kind of set the tone. But we've said it once, we'll say it again. Julius is the one guy we have to worry about going off the reservation. And we also we need an RJ sighting. We definitely need that. Those are two key things right now. I'm a little worried. Quickly is like, Quickly shouldn't be as important as he is.
Yeah, but he is. Like,
he shouldn't be as. He's a guy off the bench. He should not be the guy that go, oh, if we get him back. He reminds me of the Derrick Rose thing, when Derrick Rose was like, man, we would have won if we had Derrick Rose. Really? A 40-year-old guy off the bench is more important than your starters? That tells me that's an indictment on your team, that if a 40-year-old guy has to be called in to save the day, and his play, if he was there, he would have done better. That should never be the case. It should be when Brunson doesn't have it and when Julius doesn't have it, RJ should have been the focus. And then he came out, and I think it was the third quarter where he had the squad. He was running by himself. He made a couple of moves or a couple of drives to the basket where it resulted in him scoring, which I'm like, well, dude, that's you. That's what you should be doing. You should always don't wait till those guys get on the court, off the court. When they give you that damn ball, you drive it. You drive it into someone's chest, and then you make them feel every bit of the strength you've got in your body. You pain them, because I can guarantee if you lead with one good knee, even if you get an offensive call, somebody's going to think twice the next time they go jump.
Yeah, they definitely. If I'm Brunson tomorrow, I'm trying to get him the ball and get him going early. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm telling Julius too, like, we need to get RJ going. So that's what we're going to do. Like, we're going to try and focus on and not that he needs to score, but just get the ball in his hands and let him make plays. Like, let him have that little bit of time early in the game to set up the game for him. Because we know he's also has a propensity to have good second half. So it's definitely a thing we could see that. But just to have him into the game, again, like you said, leaders, that's what leaders are supposed to do. And if you're the point guard, you're the leader on the floor. Like, whether you're a natural leader or not, that's your job as a point guard. So that's what I think we need to see from him. They need to make a concerted effort to do that and get them going, because, as you said, they need him. And they definitely need either Quickly or Grimes too. One of them to show up, or Obi. But again, Obi to me is just he can't make an impact if he's not on the court. So, that's the thing with him. Like, he needs to play. and they don't play him enough. So that's the thing with Obi. So let's switch gears a little bit because this has been a huge topic since yesterday. So we'll recap it. We'll recap a little bit what happened. You sent a pretty funny video with that guy doing the weird breakdown, but Draymond Green right now, this guy obviously has a history of doing these things, right? And I watched that play, and like it's weird when it comes to him. Like I expect that now. Like it's just I just keep myself. I'm waiting for him to do something stupid like that, and it happened. Now, whether Sabonis exaggerated or not, or whether it was as forceful as it was, he went to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
So he did go to the hospital. So whether that's just limited gamesmanship going on or whatever, he did. He was in the hospital. It looked like he did look like he stomped on his chest. Like I saw that again. I was like, wow, that's like Rodman-esque. Like Rodman when he kicked the guy in the yeah. Like I'm like that's like Rodman-esque. So I watched the whole thing happen, and the funny thing for me, the response from people have been like, when people were saying he shouldn't have been suspended, I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, he's gonna get suspended.
He stepped on a guy's chest, whether it was hard, light, whatever, he did it. And I'm like, how can you guys be surprised that he's getting suspended? That was the first thing. But do you think, how do I want to ask this question? I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this question. Do you think that Green, in his mind before every game, knows he's going to do something like this? Is this premeditated with him? Like, do you think he just knows it comes to a point like, oh, I have to do something tonight? Because it just seems like that to me.
I think that Green, let me start by saying, I don't think Draymond Green is a dumb guy. I'm not going to.
No, not at all.
He is not a dumb guy. He's not a dumb guy. I think he does come in with a plan to a degree of picking out someone he thinks is a punk. I think he does come in with that. And I think he figures out who he's going to get in the face and yell and grill, and who he can do his intimidation. Now, it's a little bit out of the Rodman handbook to a degree.
Right.
Then it's what, we learned with, I mean, I'm laughing because I thought it was just some hilarious stuff during the time where I love basketball, where Rodman would come out and, clearly Rodman looked, we never knew what Rodman's choice was, is the way I'm going to preference this. And clearly Alonzo Mourning didn't either, because he would go and squeeze, the posterior area of Alonzo Mourning. And in doing so, it really affected Alonzo's game quite a bit.
Yes.
And I think he kind of knew that. I mean, if y'all don't know, you're too young, go YouTube it and you can figure out after that. But, he played the game very well, the mind game just as well as the physical game in a lot of ways, because he picked out the guy he knew he could maybe disturb a little bit. We saw Rodman trip Karl Malone up, in the NBA Finals, and he tripped him again, and they both fell. Next thing they're on WCW wrestling, so we know the theatrics that went into that. But that's the whole thing. It's like, I think Draymond Green comes in, and we saw it with LeBron, and him and LeBron are cool, but, it did cost, the Golden State probably the series. He gave him a little nutmeg, and called him said he rhymed with itch, and, did all these things. And rightfully so, he picked on the guy he thought he can do that to, because LeBron's not going to swing on anybody.
No.
The toughest I heard him get against the guy in Memphis, I forgot what his name, Bain. The toughest I ever heard LeBron talk to a player was like, you better tell him that whatever. And I don't know if that guy even bought it then. But my point is that Draymond Green, I think, looked at Sabonis and, color me bad, the group. That might be a good way of saying it. Color me bad. It could be a color me bad issue, that he looked at him and wanted to test how tough he was.
Right.
Thinking that the color, the hue might have, they tried it with Luka. I mean, I'm trying to clean it up as much as possible, but, one of these things don't look like the other.
And
that way. The league is, majority African American,
Right.
and it's a small percentage of Caucasian. So,
and Europeans historically have the soft label, right?
Whatever.
Right.
So, this has always been a little bit of a hazing. I'm not saying it's appropriate, but it's a hazing that goes on with them saying, let me test your metal a little bit and see how tough you are. And I laugh at the whole thing, not because I want somebody hurt in the game. I mean, I do come from that old school of,
me too.
Completely annihilated, worse than that. I just thought it was the magnitude of, I don't know what Draymond Green was thinking. Like, he didn't think he wasn't going to get suspended because it was the antics on. He was like, I always say it's like the Phil Collins song. He's waiting all his life. He was like, oh, he grabbed my leg. Let me stomp the hell out of him now. Because it will make sense that I had to stop him. So he's like, nobody was going to see you. It's like, it was like Dave Chappelle. It was digital. That piss wasn't digital. Your foot wasn't digital, dude. You stomped that dude on purpose because you wanted to stop him. And you're like, oh, he grabbed my leg. Oh, stop him. And it's like a bad skit.
Yeah, can't you just pull, why did you just pull your leg away, right? Like,
just tug your leg, dude. Just tug it. And it's like, man, and it's so funny because maybe Sabonis knew he would react that way too. So there's a lot of gamesmanship. Like, he knows he might overreact because he grabbed his leg. And he took the bait. He took the bait. And he almost looked like he didn't think the camera was on him. That's the whole thing. Like it's a closed practice and nobody would see, which he's no better now because his closed practice videos have been leaked. With him getting punching pool, punching carpool straight in his face, and he was like, even then he was like, oh, somebody leaked that, dude. Apologize to your teammate for you are wrong. You are wrong no matter which way it is.
And didn't
he hit you and you got into it? That's fine. You suck a bunch, George Poole. Come on, let's go.
And didn't he say last year during? Well, I mean, famously when Durant was on the team, they had that blow up. And Durant had that blow up on the court. I remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, so he's not. We know who he is, right? Yeah. Obviously, this is part of what makes him the player he is.
Yes.
So, and more power to him. My thing is, like you said, though, even if the TV cameras aren't on you, dude, everyone has a camera nowadays, right? Like, everyone has something that would have gotten out. Like, someone else would have seen it. So, I don't know. I mean, they're losing. They're down 0-2 in the series, which is a little bit of a surprise. I did not see that coming. I know Sacramento was better, had the better record, obviously, but I thought Golden State would win. But they've been a crappy road team all year, so it's really not that surprising.
They haven't won a road game since January. I think they won one in Memphis. So they've had one road win since January.
Yeah, that's
insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like, that's been the craziest thing. A team with that much talent, championship pedigree. Yeah. That's crazy that they're that bad on the road. But I mean, outside of that, and obviously Ja's injury, which is a huge deal.
That's huge.
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Is he out?
He's out. He's out for game 2.
All right. Giannis is back. I mean, big name players are getting banged up and getting hurt. So
you could really
Tyler Hero. Yeah, Tyler Hero's out now.
You could find somebody in the finals that should never be there.
Yep. It really is wide open, which I think is what makes, like, I didn't think the Knicks had a shot early on, but if Giannis is hampered it all, and obviously Hero's out for Miami, that's a loss for them. I think the Knicks can play with Philly. I think they can.
Mm-hmm.
We know that they play Boston well. I think Boston's a better team.
They are a better team,
but they match up well with them.
Yeah, Knicks just seem to. For some reason.
Yeah, so I think like it's the most wide open I can remember it being. If Giannis is truly slowed down and hobbled, I feel like the East is as wide open as it's been in a long time, and the West too. Like I think Phoenix is the best team when everybody's clicking and healthy. I can't see, if everyone plays at their top level, that team should win the West. I mean, there's way too many stars on that team, in my opinion.
Yeah, if they don't win, something. I mean, literally. I mean, they have everything that they should win with. I mean, you might want to count their bench maybe being a little, but do
Yep,
you
they
need,
gave up a
do
lot.
you need a bench when you got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker? You don't. You should be able to come out and annihilate 99% of the league with those two guys in the lineup. Even if
Yep.
you be able to outscore them, even there's no defense that should be able to stop either one of those guys.
Nope. And Chris Paul is a good closer. He might not score a lot during the game, but in clutch moments, he's so huge. And he was great last night. Like I watched some of the game last night, and he was big down the stretch. They really have too much firepower for me to think that they won't win. But I mean, you never know. They were only the 4th seed in the West, so they don't have the top positioning. The Clippers are a very good team. Westbrook was good yesterday. I mean, if he plays like that, if they had Paul George, it could be,
Yeah, what is Paul George? How is he out for a long time? I mean,
I think he has a chance he might play in the next game. I think I heard that somewhere, but I don't want to say for sure. I'm looking it up as we speak.
Are the team like that's the thing about the Clippers. The Clippers have always been such an X factor with their health. When healthy, they should beat every team when they're healthy.
Defensively, I mean, yeah,
they've got the best two-way players. I would think in the game still.
Yep.
Kawhi when they're engaged and Paul George when he's engaged. They do present a problem for any team that plays against them. Phoenix got a lot of firepower.
I mean, Gordon can score. Obviously, Eric Gordon's he can hit. He's a good shooter. They added him back. Like they have a lot of talent on that team, veteran talent too. Like it's not. Yeah, so
we're not going to shy away from the moment whatsoever.
Nope. It looks like George is likely out. They're saying he's likely out for the entire series. I don't know.
I forgot what happened to him. If he's out, I don't think they got
enough.
They split. I mean, that says a lot. But you've got to contain Kevin Durant for 4 or 5 games. That's a lot of containing. Although I think Kawhi Leonard's up for that challenge, but then you got Devin Booker, who's checking Devin Booker.
Right. I mean, it's really those two guys, and then like I said, Chris Paul obviously is a future Hall of Famer as well. So
I think him to have a great game come back that way.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of firepower with Denver, even though they lost, like you said, the bench. Obviously, they lost a lot in getting KD, but that team is there. I picked them out of the West before the playoffs. I'm still sticking with them. I would love to see Denver win just because I think Jokic is such a phenomenal talent and such a weird player in today's NBA. A guy who's slow, big, lumbers on the court. Yet he's
killing the league.
Yep, yet he's arguably the best player in basketball. You could definitely.
They need Murray just to be a star.
He was last game, yeah. He was
last game. He needs to be. If he's a star, then Denver could be a very deadly team. Because I think the key thing with Jokic, he needs that one, as opposed to someone needing like the 3 players. I think they need that one player because Jokic is he's that good. I just think you had another stud on that team that can stay healthy and relieve some of the pressure on him having to be Mr. Everything. Denver can be a very scary team down the stretch. I don't know. It's a very wide open. That I thought it was wide open, and I told you guys. I said even when the East before, I was like, I thought it was a little wide open. I thought the West. I was like, I could never find. There's a lot of parity in the league right now, so there's not one team that I was like, they might be great because I felt like even Milwaukee was starting to lose some of their luster because Chris Middleton is not to return back to anything.
No, well, they're lustering right now.
Yeah, and Giannis, is one injury away, and he can just be removed out of a series, and they were out of it completely at that point. Miami without Hero,
yeah,
that's a wrap. I mean, what are they going? How far are they going to go without him?
Don't have enough offense.
It's just I'm telling you, it's Boston and Philly, and if the Knicks, like I said, if the Knicks can get past Cleveland, I wouldn't fear any of those other teams that much to the point I'd be worried.
I agree.
I just think that simply because they matched up against Boston for the last for the last several seasons they've matched up great against Boston. It's just, they get up
Right.
for Boston games. We've seen Evan Fournier. He loves Boston. We saw that. The playoffs is different. Boston has the greater experience of the Knicks. So that's where I tip the hat to them because they've been in some playoff battles where the Knicks have not been in those playoff battles. So I don't know. It's going to be – it might be a weird scenario where the Sacramento Kings is in the Western Conference Finals.
That, you know what? And the NBA would hate it for ratings wise, but it would be cool.
Basketball,
Yeah, it would be cool if that team got to the NBA Finals in their first playoff series back in how many years? It would be pretty damn cool for that to happen. So we'll see. It's an open, like I said, I feel like there's so much parity. I've never thought the league was this open for who's going to win the championship. It's just wide open. Anyone I think anyone can go on a run and stake their claim. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. So, but we have game 3 on Friday.
3 on Friday.
Yep. Back at Madison Square Garden.
The Mecca. Mecca's going to be rocking in there.
Yep, I'm sure the build up the next couple days to tomorrow obviously is going to be a big hype day. I'm sure they're going to have lots of things planned in Manhattan for the Knicks and pep rally type stuff that they do. But it should be fun.
Oh yeah.
I will not be able to watch the game because I'm also a fan of the New York Islanders and I'm going to the Islander game on Friday.
At least your blood pressure medicine will be. I told you the last show. I hate these. As much as I love basketball, I hate this time of year because
I know
it does nothing for me but make me miserable. So
I know. So I mean, the Islanders are playing right now. Actually, they're tied 3-3 going to overtime. So hopefully they can win this game, tie up the series. They're down 1-0 in the series. Hopefully they can tie it up.
Oh, so I never know. So this is a playoff for the Islanders.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, all these New York teams have.
Every New York winter team made the playoffs. Every single one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's a great time of year now. All the stress. I don't have any days off.
Oh yeah, no, you got that. Oh no, you're
tomorrow. Tomorrow's my only day off this week where I don't have a team playing.
I wouldn't be no good. I can only do one sport. I was like, you're a Jets fan and a Knicks fan. I can never. My patience is that the Yankees have won so many rings. I don't have to worry about ever talking about watch them win championships. So I'm like, hey, so what? We didn't win our 28th ring. I'm like, all right, so it's fine. But the Knicks, for you, the Jets, the Islanders won 4 in the 80s. So at least they've got some resume where you've been alive and saw something.
I remember them. Yes, I do remember.
Yeah, so you've got some, but those other two teams, we're talking 70s. I mean, I guess.
And they're my two favorite sports too.
It's man, because for me, like I said, I'm 50, so the Knicks haven't won since I was born. So I've never seen anything greater with the Knicks, other than going to the finals a couple of times. But I've never seen a championship. And for you. You have Namath.
It's the worst, man.
You have Namath, and they haven't won since Joe. And then you got the Knicks. Your whole love is the 70s. That 70s show.
I was born in the 70s, so I guess that's okay. But yeah, way after.
How is it possible when you think about that as just fans, especially basketball? We always got to reflect back on basketball because New York is a basketball, state. It's like to know we've never had one championship in 50 years in New York, and everyone's come here and danced on the carpet but us.
See, that's what I mean.
Oh, it sucks.
When I think about as much as people love John Starks and the player he was and stuff like that, I'm never gonna forget the 2 for 18, right? You're never gonna forget that.
I call him Blank Man. That was my name for him, Blank Man. Everybody knows that the superhero from Damon Wayans' creation in his
Yeah.
I called him Blank Man for the longest time because I'm like, that's what he was shooting was blanks. Because I'm
seriously, you never.
I don't revere him with the same because I get tired of seeing that damn dunk. I'm tired of that. I've been tired of that for the longest time.
They lost the series. Like, I don't want to see it anymore.
Oh, the dunk. I'm tired of that damn dunk. I've been tired for that dunk since that dunk happened. I'm like, show me trophies. I don't care about no dunks. I don't care about LJ's 4-point plays. I mean, great. It was great. These are things that don't matter to me because it's like, for me, it didn't result in a ring. So that's why I can't. I'm not letting a YouTube highlight be my love of my team. I'm like, I want to love those dudes winning a ring. That's what I want. I want to revere that team like we saw with Walt and those guys come out there. I want that moment for our generation to at least see them win a ring. And to know, yeah, I don't want to see no more dunk posters in 4-point plays. They have they have NBA in Madison Square Garden short films on that the crowd, the building shook.
I know. It's so bad.
Like, this is our legacy? You know, that
I know.
Jeremy Lin. Nobody wants to see all that.
That's the the craziest moments in the Garden. And I'm not even talking about going back that far. I mean, those 90 teams, they didn't win, but at least I knew every year we were in the conversation, right? You had a shot.
Yeah.
But I would just like that feeling again. Like, I wouldn't, for now, just get me back in the mode where every season I think, okay, we have a shot this year. Like, I don't, as much as and I do like this team. I don't love the coach, but I do like this team.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as I like this team, I know in my head they're probably not winning a championship. Like, I'm just,
they're not.
They're probably not going to win one. So it's just kind of like, yes, I'm there and I'm hoping for the best, but you just kind of know deep down it's going to eventually end, and we're going to be on to next year again, right? Like,
well, you need for this season, like we're talking about, you need breaks to happen.
Yes,
it has to break in your favor in a lot of ways for them to even get to the finals, let alone win a finals.
I know.
I'm in agreement with you. That's the one thing, and that's why this year I have pumped my brakes completely. I've not jumped out of no window. I haven't jumped into a window. I've done nothing. I've stayed even keel. I haven't yelled at the television, I think, but one time this whole year, and I think it was might have been when Julius hit that shot in Miami. I was like, because I was shocked he actually hit it. So that's really what the excitement was about. I said I'm not investing no emotion into any of this other than when we talk about it on the pod. And I'll express emotions in, but I'm like, I'm not sewing in a lot of the pain. Because, not that I want my team to lose. It's just I'm not going to let them build me up. And I know that they have a ceiling. This team has a ceiling.
Yep.
Because they don't have a star. They have all-star caliber talent. And they got some good young growing talent. But I know they don't got that player because I don't think there's that many of those players in the league.
Right.
So we definitely don't have one of those.
No,
so
we need to get one.
You get a guy like LeBron being feared still. That's saying something about the league more so than about how great LeBron is, because that means that the league is worried about somebody who's 40-something years old almost. That tells me more about where the rest of you at. A guy like Kevin Durant, which Kevin is brilliant. I mean, he's when God probably made a basketball play, he's probably said, here's Michael Jordan, and by the way, here's Kevin Durant.
Right.
Literally with the skill set that he has. But I still don't. It's a shame that he is the star that you have in the league that can. Both these dudes is old. It's not like in basketball terms, LeBron and KD are old dudes. We don't have a definitive
heir apparent
young star that we go that dude because Luka's fat. Where it is.
I mean, you're right, but he would be the next in my head, talent-wise.
He should be the dude. He should have been MVP this year. When the season began, and I'll go off the reservation a little bit here with him, but he was the guy that I said coming into this season, I said he's going to be MVP because he's got too much to prove after losing Jalen Brunson. I figured he would come in impeccable shape because it looked like he was in shape during FIBA.
He
was. Like, this dude's coming in serious. He's going to be a serious dude. And then we get here and, he became flubber. You saw him seemingly gain weight during the year. And I love Luka. I tell you all the time, I love watching him play. But it's like, after a while, it's going to wear off with me liking you play and I want to see you win. And that's
true.
After a while, it's like, okay, playtime is over. You've done all the tricks. You've done all the fancy stuff that makes us exciting. Now it's time to win. You got to win a ring or go to a championship game or at least something like that. So I don't know where.
Giannis, maybe?
Giannis. Giannis is the dude, but I never look at. I hate to say this about the dude because that dude works his butt off, man. He's just so flawed.
Yeah, like you're right.
I watch him and I love him, and other times I'm like, oh God, somebody tell me when it's over because I cannot watch you dribble the ball.
Yeah, it's Durant. Like Durant is still the guy who you look at to say, okay, he's the complete package, right? There's nothing he can't do on a basketball court, and LeBron to an extent too, right? Like, I mean, he's not a great shooter, but he's still that guy who he does everything pretty well. Yeah, so like those are the two guys you think of. But yeah, like it's Giannis again. Like I agree with you. Like I watch him and you see the passion and he works hard all the time. He leaves everything out on the floor, but he can't really shoot the basketball. He doesn't have a great a fun. I don't want to say a fun, but like a stylish game that you want to see.
Yeah.
And then Luka has that, but he doesn't have the drive that Giannis has, and to stay in shape and to to be. It's we're kind of in a weird place. Is Victor that guy?
I would hope that he could be that guy because
I thought Ja might be.
Talent. The talent base is there. I mean, he's gonna have a physical curve he's gonna have to overcome. I just don't feel like when we talk about these scenarios where the Knicks gonna get a superstar, I'm like, who? I mean, I'm like literally if we could trade right now, I'm like, who could you say, let me take all these eggs that I got that I've been accumulating, and let me just throw them in a basket, and this team is willing to give me player Y, player X or Y or Z, and I know if I get that player, we're winning the championship. I cannot say that. Even with Durant coming to Brooklyn proves that that's not a guarantee, even with him. And Kevin, I'm not knocking Kevin at all, other than I think Kevin should be the best player in the game and own the leadership that comes with that and be the face of the league. But he doesn't want that. I understand. But overall, he's that dude that I would say he has no flaws in his game. He's the one guy who can, pretty much guarantee you that if you got another player, you're probably going to go to a finals with him. But he's 40, so he's almost 40. So it's like you wouldn't trade for him all your assets right now.
Yeah, I can't think of you're right.
To you, but I'm just saying, like he's gonna be with Chris Paul, until he dies right now. Until that's what they're gonna be in line together until Chris Paul can't play no more, really.
It might be Jokic.
And that's the strange dynamic when you think about it. To know that Jokic, much for all the things you said about him that shouldn't work, and he's literally the best player in the league. I mean, the only thing he's lacking is maybe the defensive intensity at the rim, but the whole game, like he's the one guy you would trade for because he's at least going to guarantee you that your team is going to be at the top of the league with him as the best player. But I'm telling you, it's one of the Knicks fans. I mean, you're dogging RJ. You want to talk about, let's get rid of RJ. There's a lot more RJs than there are, Kawhi Leonards out there or Kevin Durant. There's way more of those because you look at even the package that you got of who's in that draft. We talk about that draft all the time. Zion is Zion. He is never going to he's never going to lay up the ding dongs. Zion. Because he's never the beignets. He's never going to leave on that. We got little Zap Gun in Memphis.
I know.
Zap Gun in Memphis, probably, like I told you, he probably hurt his trigger finger. I mean, who knows? I mean, who can you say like right now that you would go, man, I'm building my franchise around that dude?
I mean, he was the guy until that happened. Like Ja was the guy I looked at and like, wow, this guy is so dynamic, good guy for all we knew. Like everything that we had heard about him was great. Like it's wow. And now that happened, I mean, not that he can't rehab his image, but the NBA is not going to look into a guy like that and hook their claws into, be like, oh, we're gonna ride this guy as the face of the league. Embiid, maybe, but he is he 28, 20? How old is he now?
Yeah, he's like late
He's 29 years.
Yeah, he's
so again, I kind of past that point with him now. Like, you really can't. I don't think you can really do that with him at this point.
No.
So it really is Luka. Like, he talent wise and everything, he's the guy you would look at. Like Luka, Jokic, and I do think there's an issue with them for an American audience picking a European player to be the face of the league. I think that's a problem. Not that it should be, because it should be about who's the best player. But I mean, it's definitely something I'm sure the league thinks about. They're trying to sell their game as being this great product. I mean, I guess it is for young kids. I know we have issues with the game overall, but it's such a tough thing. And I've never had this in my life. Like, there was always someone taking the mantle, and we don't have that anymore. So, like I said, it might be Victor, but again, he also is a European. So, is that somewhere the league wants to go? It's tough. You hope that someone rises above. Like, we talked about Kawhi Leonard. He's older now too, but he probably could have been that guy.
Yeah, he could have been.
But he doesn't really have the charisma, and it's just a very, very. He has a weird laugh, but it's just a very strange time for the NBA. But it reflects in what we were talking about. It reflects in the fact that we feel there's a lot of parity. Like we said, it's a kind of wide open. We feel like any team right now could win if they got on a run.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. This is the first time I know, as being a Knicks fan, that I can sit there and go, I wouldn't be scared to face that team. Milwaukee was, because we never could seem to beat Milwaukee, but it wasn't because I felt like Giannis is so dominant. Like, oh man, he's going to kill us. It's more so like they present a different issue because they are a athletic, big team. That's our Achilles heel, so to say. But I'm like, well, if you can stop him from scoring, which you can if you build a wall. See, this is the thing that I always tell people, and all these. That's why I don't argue about the whole who's the GOAT, who's Jordan.
Right.
There was nothing stopping Michael Jordan but Michael Jordan. See, that's the whole thing. Like, now, guys, there's things you can take away, and that may completely annihilate. Like, if you made LeBron have to pull up from a jump shot, he's not making those things. Are you making
you won. Right, you won.
I sent you the film the other day about they said the Uber driver, he couldn't cross with the Uber driver. Well, yeah, because the dribble's not great. He doesn't have he's like Emmanuel Quickly with the dribble. He's not a great dribbler. No. That's the thing. It's like Durant would get that shot off whenever he felt like it and burn somebody. But it's like the skill set, when you think about it, it's really Kevin Durant. And there might not be a second. That dude was 55 this year, 55%. He broke the 50-40-90. He was 55% from the field. That's an assassin. That's like, you can't take nothing away that I can't. I got a counter for your counter for your counter. That dude is that dude.
He is.
I don't know. Maybe Dame Lillard maybe has that kind of ridiculousness in his offensive game, but he doesn't play defense. KD can still play defense. He can give you a two-way effort that can change your life. So,
he led them. Yeah, he led Phoenix in blocks. I mean,
he's that dude. I'm telling you. I'm sad that he went to Golden State. I'm bad that he's a follower more than a leader, because had he went to the Knicks as opposed to going to Brooklyn, we were talking about a whole different talk about this guy's legend. And, that's why he says, oh, he doesn't care. Yeah, you care. You care, because you're too great of a player to be identified as someone who just went on a great team. And that's your legacy. You're the best player in the league.
I agree with you. He is. He's the best player in the league. And that was the biggest mistake he made. If he had gone anywhere else.
Not just
Golden State. Yep. Anywhere else. Had he stayed in Oklahoma City, whatever he would have done, I think they would have. People would look at him completely differently. And I get it. Like, you want to win titles. I get it. That's what the league's about. And if you have the opportunity, why not play with the best players? I get it from that standpoint, but guys you're not looked at the same if you do that. It is just, especially with the guys in this league who have been that stature, the Jordans, the Magics, the Birds, you know, you would have been in that conversation. And it's great. Like when you look at it, like we said, total package, as like you said, God picked we want to make a basketball player. It's him, right? There's literally nothing he can't do on a court. And yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we can talk about this specific topic all night.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's crazy, but we have to shut it down because it's getting late.
Getting late.
People are gonna stop listening to us rant and rave and talk about nothing. So
all time.
I know. So all right. So yeah, Friday night, guys. Game 3, Madison Square Garden. Series tied at 1. Pivotal game 3. They win this one. They're up 2-1. Pressure goes back on the Cavs. So let's see how they come out. Let's see what happens. All right, Ty, tell them where they can talk to you and what you got going on.
Hit me up at Genius Scribble on Twitter. You can also get on our Facebook fan page. Engage with us there. I'm trying to drop as much content as possible. You guys come out and check us out.
All right. Thank you, guys. As you can see, all my information down there. I'm at FinalEat33 on Twitter, my personal account. The show account at all_Knicked_up. If you want to interact with anything about the show on Twitter, hit us up there. Check out our Facebook group. And if you're in the group, check out the stuff in the Facebook group. If you're just on Facebook, you want to check out the page. You can see all different news and stuff that it's kind of a basketball feed. So a lot of stuff just gets put there. An RSS feed, so go check that out and interact with us there. All right. So let's shut this one down. For Ty, I'm Eric. You're watching All Knicked Up. See you next time.